All right, let's move to the ACC because we kind of teased it just a little bit. Came in with North Carolina being a favorite, and I don't know if you necessarily feel the same way at this point. T.O., where do you stand on the ACC?
You know what? If there's a team I'm sticking with, it is going to be Carolina. I feel like, scheduling means so much. You lose 4 in a row, you get Georgia Tech, and then after that, you get the Citadel. And you saw them get their rhythm back, right? 24 assists against the Citadel. They're starting to move the ball a little bit again. There's progress there. I feel like North Carolina still is good. They're not Final Four good. I don't want to get that confused. They caught lightning in a bottle, but they are still a team that'll be in the top 4 or 5 of the Atlantic Coast Conference. But then my team to win that conference, it's going to be one of two. It's going to be and both of those teams are in the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Ooh.
Virginia Tech or Virginia. One of those two teams is going to win that league. Virginia Tech, people forget, the ACC tournament champion is the champion of the conference. Virginia Tech is the reigning ACC champion. So it's not like I'm talking out of turn here and saying, something crazy, because Virginia Tech has been really good for 2 years. And Virginia is back in the saddle of being that dominant Virginia type team that we've come to know and love after dropping 1 to Houston, but without 100% Reese Beekman. So I'm curious to see how that goes.
I'm actually I'm down a little bit on Virginia compared to what I was 2 weeks ago. I'm a little bit
you shouldn't
struggle with Michigan, you struggle with James Madison, you get beat by Houston.
But define struggle
against Michigan. They were down big. They were down double digits in the first half and had to find a way to win. Okay. You beat James Madison by 5, who's not very good. You struggle.
I would argue to the contrary on that one. James Madison is pretty good.
Okay, well then they didn't cover. They scored 55 points against James Madison team.
That's par for the course.
You score 62 points against a Florida State team that's not very good. They haven't looked great since before Thanksgiving. Right. It's been almost a month since they've looked like a team. Let's pretend that we had no context for Virginia at all this season. Right. If you just saw a team that beat Michigan by 2, knowing that Michigan got 30 piece by Arizona State, that beat a 1-9 Florida State team by 5 at home, and beat James Madison by 5 at home, are you sitting here saying that's the team that's going to win the ACC?
Yeah. Probably, but it's because the margin of victory to me in Virginia doesn't matter as much as margin of victory with some of these other teams, because they're not going to score a ton of points.
I'll tell you what, I think Duke wins the ACC.
Not the regular season or the tournament.
The regular season.
Oh wow!
I love their makeup defensively, and if you look at KenPom offense and defense, when you combine their 2 ratings, they're the highest in the ACC. All right. They've got a top 18 offense, and then they're 22nd in defense. And it's not much. It's not by much, but I just think we should consider Duke more than what we've talked about. I think that the thought process with Duke is, well, they're young. And so can they be relied upon to win a regular season championship? For me, I'm not as high on Virginia as I was, like Rob. Virginia Tech could be the X factor here because Padula has been outstanding. Justin Mutz is big time. They've got balance. They've got options, and they have experience.
Yep.
But consider Duke because of this. Their length is imposing. They're not going to get rattled by a team with size. If they make threes and Dariq Whitehead comes on, they're going to have a chance to win the ACC. Whitehead is huge, and obviously him missing the game against Wake Forest as we do this podcast, it's a non-COVID illness is what Duke called it with him and Derek Lively. You still want to see those guys get in a rhythm and progress as time goes on. But guys, if Terrence, if you want to talk about Jeremy Roach the way that you talked about him in the preseason, and Tyrese Proctor's hitting shots and Dariq Whitehead comes on as a wing, the length there speaks for itself. Why can't Duke win the ACC?
Because the last time they did it was when Shire was playing, I think. At least the regular season. And it's been based on a team that has a lot of young players. That's the only reason. I just think the consistency in Virginia's approach, the consistency in Virginia Tech's approach, Like, they're not going to drop some of these ones like some of the younger teams are going to, right? That's why I didn't pick Carolina to win the regular season, because there are some marvelous inconsistencies there for both teams.
That's fair.
So that's kind of my only argument. I mean, your argument certainly has credence. It's certainly possible just because of that size and Filipowski and Dariq Whitehead getting healthy and all that. I could see it happening. It just hasn't.
If you made me go to a counter and say who you betting on, I'm saying Virginia still, because I'm giving their experience, their defense, their toughness, the benefit of the doubt. But guys, I have been more impressed with Duke than I thought I would be at this stage. I like them. I think they're one of the 10 best teams in the country.
Is Kyle Filipowski the conference player of the year right now?
Man, good question.
He might be.
He might be. I mean, that's the thing. Virginia probably doesn't have, like, if Beekman's 100%, then he's probably got an argument. Padula deserves consideration, guys. He's averaging over 17 per game. He's shooting almost 50% from the floor. But I would probably look at Filipowski and say, yeah, he's got a shot. I mean,
well, certainly for freshman of the year. I mean, you know, he won the first 4. And then Judah Mintz took over the last 2 weeks. I mean, there's certainly a shot there, but he hasn't been voted player of the week once yet. I think there's something to be said there.
I'm telling you guys, too, on the ACC front, yet again, Miami's going to be a tough out in March.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
They
got a big one tonight.
You know what's wild about the game tonight? Miami at Virginia, or I'm sorry, Virginia at Miami. It's the first time since February of 2021 that the ACC has had a ranked matchup.
Yeah,
that is a wild stat. All right. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can go for ACC Player of the Year. I think Isaiah Wong is probably in that conversation. Sean Padula is probably in that conversation. There is no favorite at this.
The fact that Sean Padula is in that conversation is pretty cool.
It's awesome. You've been talking up this guy for years.
Yeah.
I feel like it was the first time I met you in like 2017. You were like, hey, this kid Sean Padula, you know, he's only a sophomore wherever the hell he's from, but wait till he gets to
from
Virginia
Edmond,
Tech.
Oklahoma. I know
Mike Young isn't at Virginia Tech yet, but when he gets that job, just wait to see what he does with Sean Padula.
And it was then that you said, I got to hire this guy.
Yep, right there, right then and there. All right, Coach of the Year, I would be giving it to Larinaga or Mike Young, but probably Larinaga for me, just because he's 8,000 years old. Give him an award. He needs.
Well, and he had a milestone. I think he had his 600th win this year.
Yep.
Yeah, look, Jim's got to be. Now he did get to the Elite Eight last year. It shouldn't come as like I talked with a couple coaches earlier this year who said, "Man, Miami's got dudes again. Like they're the fact that they got kind of overlooked again, like they went to the Elite Eight." And the reason why the coach said it was, he's like, we live in this college basketball world where it's always like what you did in March then determines what we think of you the following preseason. And like we weren't talking as highly about Miami considering they went all the way in the Elite Eight last year.
They also lost Cam McGusty, who was a first teamer. They lost Charlie Moore, who was one of the better pure point guards in the country last season. Like he wasn't through the first 5 years of his college career, but the sixth one, there was some magic in that sixth one. So like that's why we didn't talk about them as much.
You know,
I thought I didn't
get
know
six tries. You get 6 tries. One of them better pan out.
Hey, did you see?
You know what's wild about it? Nigel Pack isn't even doing anything for him. Like Nigel Pack's just he's just okay.
He's getting paid. He's getting paid the Miami max.
He got that Nigel 400K pack is what he got. All right, let's move to the Big 12.
Hey, by the way, real quick. Did you see where this kid from Oregon, the wide receiver, got his 9th year of eligibility or something?
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Are you kidding?
Yeah, he's got a bunch of injuries and graduate transfers. Yeah, he's
what's the thing past a doctor? He's gonna have a double doctorate.
All right.
He's got a PhD. He's actually going to be a doctor by the time he leaves.
I'll tell you what, he better not be in a freshman dorm. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh boy.